Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for Thursday, November 16th, 2017. I'm Alex Kalafi, joining you live from Boston. Also joined by my friend from Canada, Donald Terrio. Hello.
Hello. If I randomly go silent or disappear for a moment, it's because somebody poisoned my mutton.
You have been sick for like 3 of the past 7 shows, I feel.
Yeah, and and I thought I had finally gotten over it, and then it flared back up on a day off, like it always does.
So is this allergies? Is it 2 different colds?
I think it's two different colds,
Yeah, okay.
but,
It's not
but
good.
I went through like 2/3 of a pack of these today, cough
What?
drops. So
So it's sore throats, or is sore throat a big thing for you right now?
yeah,
Okay, here's so I can actually give you some advice on this because I am a whiz of sore throats. Also, going to introduce our other co-host today, Justin Berube. Hello.
What's up, guys?
So for once, I'm actually going to provide some useful information on this show, and I'm going to say, hey, if you have a sore throat, naproxen sodium, otherwise known as Aleve, I keep some actually by my bedside as kind of a pain medication. It is good for headaches and sore throats. You wouldn't think it's good for
okay,
sore throats, but take two before you go to bed, and then take one every 8 hours after that, and then it takes care of it, I think, better than anything else. I think the spray works well, and if you're gonna get cough drops, and what's the most common brand of cough drops? I'm trying to think of. It's the one
well,
that's in the bag. Anyways,
probably
get
different up here anyway.
yeah, max strength cough drops. The one that like hurt to put in your mouth. Those are the best ones to use for a sore throat.
Yeah,
Um, but anyways, naproxen sodium, aka Aleve, is the recommended treatment of choice as someone who hates sore throats more than just about anything in this world. Okay, we have just a little bit of news this week. We'll have a little bit of what we've been playing at the end of the show. We're gonna push the telethon a little bit, and then I guess the right thing to start off with is that Super Mario Odyssey is the best-selling game in November, isn't it, Donald?
yeah. It was the best-selling individual game of October in the U.S. according to the NPD Group, who put their monthly game of Number Wang out tonight. We had Mario Odyssey was number one in the single format, and number three because it couldn't beat the combined sales for PS4 and Xbox One of Assassin's Creed Origins and Middle Earth: Shadow of Loot Box.
Those were 1 and 2 combined.
Yeah,
Oh man, I read that email very quickly. I was hoping that it would be the combined, but I think with loot boxes and the new Dark Souls economy, I don't think there was a chance for a new Switch game to beat that in just 4 days on the market. Unfortunately,
Still
yeah,
impressive.
still impressive. It's just, Super Mario Odyssey is an awesome game. Justin and I were talking about how we both 100%ed it
Yep.
before the show. We loved it, liked it a lot. I think it's probably one of the best Mario games. Top 2 or 3, maybe. Yeah, Justin, what
Top
do you what?
five, maybe. I mean, it's really good. It is really good, but I
It's so
think
fresh.
Super Mario Brothers is now my number one. Mario 64 is probably still my number two, but it's really hard for those to ever be toppled in my book, just because,
The place and time you played
yeah,
them.
place and time where I played them, and like I know the first one, first Super Mario Brothers had a huge impact, and it definitely did on me personally. And Super Mario 64 was like a huge event that will probably never be repeated in the history of gaming, where like when people saw that, it was mind blowing.
Mm. Um, I think also video games are at a very different time
Oh yeah,
now than they were back then, and I think I I feel grateful that Super Mario Odyssey exists in a world of the Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco and the loot box issues of the world and the microtransactions. Like we're almost in a post microtransaction society right now. And Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, despite whatever flaws they may or may not have, they're still like good old video games. And there's something to be said about that.
there
they're
sure is.
yeah they like Zelda has its expansion pass, but it's like $20.
It seems
And
like it has a good amount of content.
yeah, and we'll probably get a.
We don't know how much content that $20 gets you yet.
Yeah.
Well, we know we know some of it, but we don't know the full extent of it. And we probably won't find that out until middle of December.
It'll be coming December 31st.
G2 Andrews. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say there. I think there's an event in early December that'll give us at least the release date, and it should probably be within like that week.
Sure. Oh, you're talking about the Game Awards. You think that's when we're gonna see some of that?
I think that Zelda is nominated for Game of the Year in the Keighleys for a reason, and I look forward to watching for the announcement of the Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC.
Breath of the Wild's gonna win Game of the Year, right? Not right at Game Awards. Regardless,
is Mario Odyssey in the Game Awards?
yes, it's competing.
Yeah, then I don't think Zelda deserves it for many reasons.
I'm not saying who deserves it. I'm
Okay.
saying who's going to win.
From that panel, it's either Zelda, Mario, or the game that technically is not out yet.
PUBG. I think the world is turning on PUBG. And I think they have been for a long time, especially if you talk to the people who really play that game a lot. Granted, a lot of people still love it because it's got 2 million concurrents. But between all the hacking, between all the complaints people have about how they've evolved the game, between the fact that it's not even out yet, and it'll be kind of like stumbling to its finish line, between the microtransactions, I think people are going to turn on it. And I think this is going to be a battle of the Nintendo games this year. I'm also low key predicting the Giant Bomb Awards.
Yeah, I think for Giant Bomb, I think PUBG wins, but for the Keighleys, I think it's either going to be Zelda or PUBG.
All right, it's I'm guessing Wolfenstein 3, PUBG 2, Mario number 1. Because you know how the Giant Bomb Awards always work. There's always like a number 2 that Jeff has like a really specific complaint about, and that prevents it from getting number 1. Same thing that happened to Doom last year. Anyways, that's not what this show is. I just think Zelda for the Game Awards is going to serve audiences best. For that. Anyways, G2 Andrew. Should I sell my PS4 Pro and buy the Switch? No, you should not sell consoles to buy consoles. You should save money, and then whether it's a year from now or 2 weeks from now or 3 years from now, then you should buy a Switch. You should buy a Switch, but you should not sell your PS4 Pro to buy the Switch because there are wonderful games on the PlayStation 4. He later adds, I'm scared that this hardware isn't made for hardcore gaming. I think hardcore gaming is not really a term that's relevant in 2017 anymore, but I would also say that PC gaming, if you're worried about quote-unquote hardcore gaming, you probably should have a PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and with consoles, I think I've for the last few years, I've had a hard time playing my console just because I'm moving around location all the time, and the Switch has just been great for me because I can bring it with me easily. So that's always something to consider too. If you're looking for something that's more portable, Switch is the way to go. Plus, I have a laptop that can handle games decently. So that Switch, 3DS, and my laptop, I feel set.
Yep. Odyssey's awesome. Sold a bunch. And I plan on mainlining Odyssey in a couple weeks after I finish Pokemon, just so I can get a good feel for what the mainline experience of that game actually is. Because after I grind out enough moons, I've actually removed myself from the original game, I feel like. Justin, did you have the same impression?
The way I tackled the game while playing through it is I wouldn't leave a world until I couldn't get any more moons in it. And then I'd like do cleanups because every once in a while, like some more would open up depending on certain things that happen. And then I beat the game, and I did all the post game stuff. And while I did the post game stuff, I tried not to use the Odyssey at all, so I can collect as many moons as possible between warping between worlds. So I had like a 400 moon turn in at one point when I did everything I could.
Jeez.
I recorded it. I'll post it eventually when everybody's done with the spoiler stuff. But I'm giving the Christmas crew like time to figure that out.
Yeah, Donald, have you played a good chunk of Mario yet?
I've gotten through New Donk City, but just between sickness and various things, I've been a bit too busy to play much of anything aside from like maybe an hour or so of Doom and some stuff for the telethon. So I need to get back into it.
You like Mario?
Yeah, I like it, but I'm not yet to the point where I can really start putting it into my ranking of Marios.
Okay, you can't. You got to finish it and then chew on it, and then only then
Yeah.
will you know. I still don't know exactly where I think it is. It's just I like it a lot. Switch sold a lot of units too. SNES Classic sold a real lot of units, but Switch sold a lot of units too.
Yeah, Switch was #1 best-selling console in the U.S. in October. SNES Classic, #2, beating the PS4 and Xbox One, which sounds really impressive until you consider at most, the SNES Classic is about 40% of the price of an Xbox One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot of people were probably saving this month for the One X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where did 3DS rank?
Probably 5th, sadly. But between the SNES Classic, the Switch, and the 3DS, Nintendo was responsible for 2/3 of all hardware sold in the U.S. in October.
That's impressive. I think that's impressive.
I think it's impressive considering where Nintendo was a year ago.
Yeah. Where they had one console, where they effectively had one system on the market. Now they've got one that can't keep on the shelves, one that is sort of on the shelves, and one that is doing okay, I guess.
And yet, even as the Wii U is allegedly dead, there are Black Friday deals for Wii U games this year, and there are still eShop games coming out in some limited capacity, which I think is very impressive.
Mostly Konami Virtual Console stuff that came out in Japan 3 years ago, but hey, we got Lords of Thunder.
How are those decisions made at Konami?
Well, Konami's also the people who think they could turn Super Bomberman R into an esport, so who knows?
Yeah.
Some guy at Konami is probably like, "Oh, I forgot to flip this switch."
Just chose the wrong console.
Yeah, and now it's just spitting. It got stuck for like 6 months after they put the first batch out last year, and now it's just spitting out one every couple of weeks, and eventually they'll run out.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they go back and do Rondo of Blood though, because that is the one thing I would still boot into Wii mode to buy.
Believe it or not, I played my Wii U tonight just before the show. My brother came over. He wanted to play something multiplayer, so I turned on Mario Kart 8 because I don't have the deluxe one. But the Wii U, I'm kind of having a bit of a renaissance with. I don't have any issues with it. Bayonetta 2 is awesome. Smash is great. Mario's good. You know, it's the Wii U.
I want to take some time soon to replay Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
I need to finish it. I'm like 20 hours into that thing. I tried restarting Wonderful 101, and I just couldn't do it. I don't know what it was, but something about that game did not click with me immediately.
I didn't enjoy that game. It felt like you were playing this beat-em-up game, but you had to learn moves out of a fighting game in order to pull stuff off, and it just was too complicated for me to even bother getting into.
Yeah,
I was on an Extra Life stream with Wonderful 101. It did not go well.
Playing that game on the gamepad where you have the touch screen and you have all the buttons and you kind of have to use every button on the gamepad. It's not like a Mario game where you really just have to use like 4. Using the gamepad, it kind of has that feeling of like rubbing your belly and like scratching your head.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm getting that same feeling now with a game that I'm reviewing on Switch, which I actually want to hook up my Wii U, see if I can hook up the Wii U Pro controller to the Switch and see if it would handle better there.
I bet it would. Even just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a port of a game that I've played before with symmetrical sticks, and doing some of the commands in that game, which I just put in our little chat room here, is it's a bit tricky to do when you have offset sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. We have some new patches and some games. Donald, you'll be able to tell better than I will, but I'm going to try to guess at what these are. The ARMS one, they shadow dropped a new fighter, and they have balance updates.
Yeah, and there's also a new stage that goes with the new fighter.
What's the fighter's name?
Morago, I believe.
Morago, something like that. And it seems like he's kind of not finicky, but he's got a style to him.
Yeah. There's an omnibus story on the site with just all the patch stuff that came out the last couple of days. there's a Treehouse blog entry link there that sort of goes into detail about how that guy plays.
Cool.
Definitely worth checking out.
Fire Emblem Warriors, 2 new costumes and a history map. Is that what it is?
Yeah. The some patches, I guess, laying the groundwork for later DLC, but they also added some new costumes and a history map mode for the original characters.
Okay. Super Bomberman R is like 9 new characters and like a world, right?
Yeah, new single player world, a bunch of new costumes from Konami's deep history that they only seem to want to mine for pachinko machines, and a couple of 3-on-3 competitive modes.
Are there any microtransactions in that game?
As far as I know, there isn't. I haven't played. I played it at PAX, but that's the extent of my knowledge of it. But as far as playing it, but I don't believe they've done the microtransaction thing with that game.
I bet Super Bomberman R, I bet they see that as like a goodwill PR thing. That like, look, we're celebrating all our characters in this game. No microtransactions. It's single player. It's multiplayer, and it almost worked.
And it shipped like 750,000 copies. It seems like.
Yeah. Is that successful? I feel like it should be because it's not that complicated of a game.
Yeah.
For Bomberman, yeah, it would be.
Yeah. And Pokken, was that the update that had like new modes and stuff in it?
Yeah, that's the one that does the training mode additions, and lets you do team battles online.
Okay. So look at that. Games are getting updated. The Switch is alive and well, and I feel like if Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is as good as I hope it is, and John Reardon has a preview on the site where it seems like he enjoys it so far, but there's a lot he can't talk about. This could be like one of the strongest first years of a console ever.
I think it is. Yeah, I can't.
We still got 3 more months.
Yeah.
By the end of the year.
By the end of the fiscal year. Yeah, I can't. I honestly can't think of any console in its first year that I would put up against the Switch and say this is comparable. Maybe the Super Nintendo. But a lot of that stuff got iterated on and upstaged with later versions anyway.
Right. If Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an excellent game, and that is certainly an if. I mean, granted, you love both Xenoblades and whatnot, but if Xenoblade Chronicles 2 ends up being an excellent game, between Xenoblade, Zelda, Splatoon, and Mario, there's at least one of those 4 games you probably think is freaking awesome.
Yeah. And even then, we're getting stuff we didn't expect, like Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah, Mario and Rabbids along the way. A Doom port that like is making people excited about Doom from the middle of last year again, which is really cool. I love Doom.
There was a bunch of stuff in Doom that I didn't realize that had been added to the game until I played it on Switch.
Like what? Is it spoiler?
The arcade? No, it's on the front menu. The arcade mode.
What is the arcade mode?
Basically, you take a portion of the map and you basically do score attack with it.
Of and a multiplayer map?
No, just single player.
Huh.
And I think there might be leaderboards for it, but I didn't really bother to check. But yeah, you can just run through, and there's even like a multiplier system to help you get the really high scores.
Awesome.
Apparently, that got added in a patch somewhere along the line, and I totally missed it.
Very nice. Very nice. So, the telethon is coming up on December 2nd, the day after Xenoblade comes out. It's going to be an all-day thing. We're going to have all kinds of panels. It's for Child's Play, doing it for the kids. We're going to have all kinds of panels, segments. I'm going to be producing it. Donald's going to be producing it. Neil and James are going to have a hand in it. Donald and I are going to be doing a Pokemon Ultra Sun post-mortem. I have a guest lined up. I'm still waiting to finalize it. It's the best guest possible for a segment like this, short of like Satoshi Tajiri or Junichi Masuda. Like the best non-Pokemon developing, publishing person, I would say, to be on this segment with us. So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm. And I'm ready to start as soon as this thing unlocks.
Yeah. I've been playing it. I think we can talk about the games we've been playing. I have a review in progress of the Pokemon Ultra Sun up on the website, and the spoiler embargo is going to be unlocking an hour after we finish this. So I'm only going to say the stuff that is currently in this article. But the one thing I'm going to say above all else about this game, if there's one thing I can tell you about Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they are third version games. They are not Black 2 White 2. They are third version games. The story, most of it's untouched. The back part has a lot more stuff in it. It utilizes the would-be cover legendary that's not in the game otherwise. And it has post-game updates in the same way the third versions of all the other games had post-game updates.
Except they left it. I wonder if they left out the most prominent one that people would want in a third version, the one that was in Emerald and Platinum.
Are you thinking? Well, I'm going to leave that hanging. We can talk about it next week when we're playing it.
Hey, to me, it's already a better version of the game just because you can get Mewtwo. So
Yeah, I think that part of the game I'm a little iffy on. I think back to so one, I think Mewtwo is one of the best legendaries out of Pokemon's 40, 50 legendary type, mythical type, Ultra Beast type Pokemon they have. But I think back to Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the games that basically let you get a buttload of legendaries way too easily, and it kind of took away some of the value. So I haven't experienced it yet. So like I'm not at a point where I can talk about that, and I wouldn't be able to talk about it regardless. But that's my main fear about that. I don't know. I'm guessing you didn't like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire either, Justin.
no, I really didn't like those games. I didn't like them the first time. In fact, when the originals came out, it really hurt my joy of Pokemon for a long time until they remade the original games with Fire Red and Leaf Green. I just to like I've covered this before, but the reason I really didn't like Ruby and Sapphire when they came out was, first of all, it made all of your previous progress in the Pokemon series void completely, and then you're sent to this new region with mostly new Pokemon, and it had very few of the creatures I remember liking. So you're going. It was like almost like a reboot of the series on all fronts, and I think that really impacted the series negatively, and that's probably why they've not done that since. It's the mechanics that were established in those games are basically the same mechanics they have now.
Yeah, I mean we've talked about our differences on Gen 3 numerous times on numerous formats on the website, which is whatever. Everyone to each their own.
Yeah.
I think the odd generations have been really interesting in this series. It feels like 2, 4, 6 have all been like 2 and 4
Iterative.
and 6. It felt somewhat iterative. 6, I have some hesitations on.
Yeah, although 4 is the one that brought in a lot of the things that we finally wanted, like special and physical smooth split and online play.
But compared to those, at least 3, 5, and 7 have felt like darn near reboots for the series. I would say 3 because it did everything completely differently on the music, stylistic, world building, story front that the 2 games before it haven't done.
And the core game structure was just so different that it was physically impossible to carry over that data for at least in 2002 to carry data from the old games over.
Right, which doesn't mean your complaints are invalid, Justin. It just means like the games are so different, and that speaks to it.
No, I understand why they did it. It makes perfect sense to me. I just think it sucks.
Sure. 5 was a reboot.
It's revisited.
Huh?
I was just thinking back to an old, because I was pretty heavily in the Pokemon community around the time that Ruby and Sapphire were coming out in Japan, and I just remember the one thread that ended up being renamed to Butterfree's Cheapness Revisited, because there was this giant debate about, can we use the old Pokemon because we know they have movesets in the game, they're just not accessible right now.
Yeah.
This was before Fire Red and Leaf Green were a thing.
Right. 5 was a reboot because the whole pre-game or the whole main game, you could not catch an old Pokemon whatsoever, which is a very your mileage may vary kind of thing. I think 5 is one of my favorite gens for some reason. It's many people's least favorite gens for that very reason. I was also a big fan of the story of Pokemon Black and White. I think that's the best story that the series has had, I think, to any extent, personally. Gen 6 and 7 almost felt like 2 reboots in a row in a weird way. Or like Gen 6 was like a half reboot in its new 3D engine, but like the gameplay was very safe. And then Gen 7 was just a total reboot. It looks like a 3D JRPG. It's throwing away HMs, blowing out the TMs,
throwing away the gym format.
Sort of playing with the story a little bit more, playing with what a Pokemon is and isn't a little bit more. I almost think like Pokemon Sun was the Breath of the Wild Super Mario Odyssey moment for the Pokemon series. Mm. Granted, I'm not saying it's as good as those 2 games, but I think the same spirit that created Pokemon Sun was probably similar to the energy that created Breath of the Wild and Odyssey.
I wonder if we're going to see another one of those then with the next Pokemon game, since they're going to be on Switch.
I think so.
And by necessity, they're going to have to do some serious revamping.
Yeah, one of the things, and I've talked about this before, I don't know to you guys or not, that bothers me about Pokemon at this point in time is it's not snappy enough. It replays that same animation of like starting the battle and throwing the Pokemon out there, and that just wastes so much time to me, and I wish I could just speed that up, maybe 99%, just make it bam, 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 and then I make my choices. I really don't like all the time wasting that's in Pokemon right now. I just want to be jammed into that gameplay immediately and out and get rid of that fluff that ends up being it adds up. Think of how many times you get in battles. It's probably adds hours to your gameplay for almost no reason.
So Fire Emblem Codename Steam update style of
well, one of the first things I do when I start a new Pokemon game is I increase the text speed to the maximum, first of all, and I like the battle animations, so I leave them on, but I'd like to have faster battle animations too. Like, I want the battle animations, but like maybe if I hold L or R or something and it speeds them up, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it's hard because those games pushed the 3DS to their limit so hard that they were already slowing down in its normal speed. I
understand the technical limitations. That's why I'm hoping on Switch they can finally just make the game in general much snappier than it is now, where sometimes it's like, oh, I could be so much further, I could be doing something so much faster if it just let me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think what I would add to that is Decidueye, the grass type final starter. I'm playing as him in Ultra Sun, and I'm using his Z move, and Z moves are so long that after I see them a couple times, 70% of the time I just want to skip it so I can like keep the battle going.
That's that Final Fantasy summon effect in action, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay.
When I played Sun and Moon, I don't think I used a Z move at all, except for one point. I'm like, I should probably try a Z move, and then I did it.
Yeah, I still think Mega Evolutions were one of the best things to happen to that series, and I'm so sad they threw them away.
Yeah,
and they're trying to make it look bad now too with the Pokédex entries for Mega Evolved Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what do you mean?
Have you read some of because Mega Evolved Pokemon in Sun and Moon get separate Pokédex entries, and like every single one of them mentions like the Pokemon is in severe pain when they Mega Evolve.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of dark, and
they don't look like it.
Yeah, but it could just, it could just be the Rotom Dex trolling you, which that probably could happen, but
most of that game is dark Pokédex entries of like Pokemon eating other Pokemon and like what happens when they die. Like there's way too many dark Pokédex entries in that game, by which I mean just enough dark Pokédex entries in that game.
Delicious creepypasta.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's Ultra Sun. I'm still working on it. I'll have much more to say next week when I actually can chew into the post game some. Doom, you guys were talking about that. Donald, you played an hour. Justin, you played a little more than that?
I think maybe like 3-4 hours, maybe. I got through the first 2 levels, but I've been taking my time looking for secrets and stuff.
You like it?
I do like what I've played so far. It really makes me wish I could play the first 2 Dooms on Switch. That'd be cool if I could download those.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with Doom. I remember when Wolfenstein 3D came out. That was like mind blowing, like a first person shooting game like that. It was the first one I ever saw, and then Doom came out shortly after, and that was like an upgrade on it. And yeah, so I have some nostalgic feelings toward Doom, and this new game is cool. I like it. It's not the same as the old Doom, but I'm having fun with it.
Mm-hmm. And you, Don?
It's pretty much the same thing that I played last year, and Doom was in my top 10 last year. I'm not really noticing a difference between playing it on a PS4 and playing it even in TV mode on my Switch. But I do look forward to the ability to be able to blast people on the go.
Yeah. I don't think I can justify buying this game at $60, but I really want to play handheld Doom, and I really want to play that VR Doom game too. But Justin, I think you're gonna have good fun with the secrets in that game. I don't know if you've found any
I
yet.
found one secret, and it looked like I entered a room that looked like the original Doom, and I remember that area. I think it was from the first or second level. And,
Okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, this. Can we just get this whole game revamped to look like this? Because I'd probably be loving it. So.
Well, do you know what happens when? Did you get the unlock that happens in that room?
Possibly. I just finished that level, so I haven't checked any.
I don't. It's probably a spoiler because it's 2016 Doom. But there's in that room, you get something that gives you basically exactly what you just asked for.
Okay, good.
But I think you need to find it. I don't know if you get it automatically. Donald, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at the very least, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Justin, after you beat the game, look into that, because what you want, like if you want like a really hard classic style Doom level, there are a lot of those actually that you can get.
Yeah, and one thing I do miss about this Doom is I can't enter my cheat codes. Where's ID God mode and the wall clipping and all that fun stuff?
IDKFA, IDQD.
Yeah, I used to goof around in Doom quite a bit.
Yeah.
In my younger years.
New Doom is awesome. I think that story campaign's great.
And I do like how in this Doom it really pushes you to be aggressive. And like a lot of first-person shooter games, I'm hanging back and just like picking things off, luring things out one by one. But in Doom here, it really rewards you for just diving in and trying to get those super kills, or what do they call them? Glory kills.
Glory kills.
Yeah, and giving you health for that. I think it's a good balance they figured out how to prevent people from just hiding. Because I know in the original Doom, I'd be like luring people down a corridor, like just to get them out of the way and picking them off one by one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this game really rewards you to be aggressive and go out there and just destroy everything. Honestly.
Yeah, rip and tear.
Yeah,
it's a modern shooter made like an old shooter, and I think they pull it off way better than they have any right to, and way better than you would expect from it in Bethesda, and way better than I thought Wolfenstein did it a few years ago. But old new Wolfenstein is still a good new game in its own right. But good. Last thing I want to talk about, Rocket League. How is it?
This is the first time I've ever played Rocket League, and I know a lot of people have hyped it up. And so far, I'm not really seeing what the hype is about, to be honest with you. I mean, it reminds me a lot of Blast Ball, which it should. It seems like a lot of the game, maybe you need to get better at it, maybe I need to get better at it or whatever, but it seems like a lot of the game comes down to just being in the right place at the right time, and there's such a huge luck factor to that because the ball's bouncing all over the place. So I don't know I don't know how to get better at that game, to be honest with you. It just seems like a lot of random things, and every once in a while it'll all come together for you, and you might score, do a nice save or something. But I honestly don't see what all the hype's about right now.
Okay. And do you agree with this, Donald?
My experience with Rocket League is basically I claimed it on Plus. I do want to get it at some point because it seems like it'd be a blast to play it locally, especially with my local crew, but I just haven't gotten around to picking it up yet. Just this week is just absolutely insane with the number of games that are coming out. It's sort of giving me paralysis, especially since I have to play like 2 games for the telethon and another game to review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like that covers everything. It's soccer. It's car soccer. I think
Car
You
soccer.
played it before, Alex?
I've played the PS Plus one for all of a few matches. I did not have great internet at the time I played it. Now I do have good internet, but I don't know. I played it. It was fun for a couple matches. I'm not a multiplayer guy usually, so I don't know. I don't have anything to say against what you said. It seems like car soccer. And
Yep.
car soccer is a great idea for a video game. I'm just not sure it's a game for me.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I'm glad I tried it. I'll probably goof around with it some more, but hope I get more into it. But right now, I'm just kind of all right.
This is what that is.
Yep.
All right, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. You can find Donald Terrio on Twitter at DonaldMick, DonaldMick. He has also been playing Super Beat Sonic. Almost forgot. Donald, give me a 30-second something on it.
Good music. The controls are I've been confused a few too many times. If you can play, I'd still say it's worth playing, but you may want to look into options for symmetrical control sticks. Like not even the Pro controller is going to help you here.
So it doesn't control great?
Well, because when that game, you're trying to hit beats, and some of them are like up or down on the directional buttons or the face buttons, or an analog stick, and when they're offset like they are on the default Pro controller or the Joy-Con grip, it can really throw you off. It's throwing me off quite a bit.
Okay. I played it on Vita. It seemed like an alright rhythm game back then.
Yeah. I played on Vita too, and so I was interested to see how it held up on Switch, and it's same game. I'm even getting even more into it because there were some things that I didn't even realize were in the Vita version that are in this game now, but just the control issues are lowering my scores dramatically when I finish the song.
What was the one that came out before Super Beat Sonic? What was the last Vita game that was actually like really good? Was it DJ Max Technic Tune?
Yeah, I've been looking for that, but apparently the publisher for it went under, so it's always been $45.
Yeah, and actually I think Super Beat Sonic was the first game by the people who collapsed after Technica Tune. God, that's one of the best games on Vita, I think. I actually got a review code for that long time ago when that came out. That game was so good. Anyways, that's beside the point. Donald Mick on Twitter. Listen to No Free Time Radio, his other podcast, NFR podcast on Twitter. Justin Berubi, King Nintendo Fan, at King Nintendo Fan on Twitter. I'm at Kulafia, Culafia. Do the telethon. Donate to the telethon.
And any donation that we get before the 1st of December, up to $2,000 is going to get matched by a very friendly listener. So if you donate early, you're doubling your chances of getting all the segments unlocked. And I, for one, am very curious to see what John and James' segment is going to look like this year, especially considering it's like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that one's going to be real
You
good.
should tune in because I think there's going to be prizes you can win too, right?
Oh yeah, the Carmine's prize list is belligerent and numerous.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I sent him
yeah.
a package about a year ago that he just found a few months ago. He's like, "Oh, I forgot I got this," and cracked it open.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
yeah, definitely check it out for many reasons. Donate, and it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Have a good night, guys. Take care.
Later.
Bye.